Well, we got a lot of new faces in here. So if you're a new senator, I apologize that I couldn't make it to development today. But a few things I want to leave you with a little bit of advice before we get started. The best thing you can do to build confidence, learn to speak in front of people, and just kind of get used to this format, because it is a pretty big shock seeing a lot of people just in suits and suits speaking. It's very hard for everyone. The best way to build confidence is to ask questions. So I would like to challenge every new senator in here today to ask at least one question to someone throughout the meeting. And you'll have a lot of opportunities. Regent Work is going to be great. He'll answer anything you want. There will be bill presentations, other people being confirmed. But ask questions, really figure out what's going on. Don't be afraid to ask questions of me during the meeting. If you need to know anything about what's happening, about any kind of Robert's Rules of Order related thing, just raise your placard, say point of information or point of parliamentary procedure, and as long as you get my attention, then I will answer your question. And don't be ashamed to do that. Everyone has to learn at some point. If you get called out of order, again, don't worry. No one's going to judge you. It's just a part of that learning process. Other than that, everyone have fun. Really get to know each other. We're going to have a great year. I'm excited about what we can achieve. And let's have a fight next Aggie Student Senate meeting.
Okay, here we go. SVP Claybrook.
Okay, new senators. One more thing. If you could all approach the front and be sworn in.
Can I tip over all this stuff? You don't go dinner.
Very close to
If you can all raise your right hand and just repeat after me. I state your name.
I
Do solemnly swear to faithfully execute.
do solemnly swear to faithfully execute,
To the best of my abilities.
to the best of my abilities,
The office of, state your office.
the office of
To uphold the honor of the same.
to uphold the honor of the same,
In all times to protect the welfare of the student body.
in all times to protect the welfare of the student body,
And to promote good relations.
and to promote good relations
Between the students and those concerned with the university.
between the students and those concerned with the university.
Congratulations.
Okay, now here we go. SVP Claybrook. Claybrook. SVP Bowen.
Howdy.
Myself. Chair Harris. Harris. Chair Mandry. Mandry. Chair Price.
Howdy.
Chair Cheshire.
Howdy.
Chair Ganoon.
Howdy.
Chair Sosa.
Howdy.
Chair Miller.
Howdy.
Senator Golden. Senator Golden. Senator Song. Senator Song. Senator Howard. Howard. Senator Hoyle.
Here.
Senator Daly.
Howdy.
Senator Todd. Senator Todd. Senator Rudy.
Howdy.
Senator Smith. Senator Garr.
Howdy.
Senator Slusser. Howdy. Senator Alders.
Howdy.
Senator Smith.
Howdy.
Senator Celaya.
Howdy.
Senator Pringle. Senator Pringle. Senator Castelleca. Howdy. Senator Kim. Kim. Senator Rios.
Howdy.
Senator Nate.
Howdy.
Senator Garcia.
Here.
Senator Mitchell.
Here.
Senator O'Neill.
Howdy.
Senator Green.
Here. Say howdy.
Senator Casares.
Howdy.
Senator Forney.
Howdy.
Senator McCreary. Howdy. Senator Carpenter.
Howdy.
Senator Owens.
Howdy.
Senator Kingsbury.
Howdy.
Senator Woolridge.
Howdy.
Senator McNutt.
Howdy.
Senator Bryson.
Howdy.
Senator Marlowe.
Howdy.
Senator Hurley. Howdy. Senator Woolsey.
Howdy.
Senator Blues. Senator Boyd. Senator Boyd. Senator Allen.
Howdy.
Allen. Senator G.
Howdy.
Senator Russo.
Howdy.
Senator Podcotter.
Howdy.
Senator Joyce.
Howdy.
Senator Colwell. Senator Bruckmiller. Senator Quick.
Howdy.
Senator Kelly.
Howdy.
Senator Phelps.
Howdy.
Senator Fuquay.
Howdy.
Senator Brown.
Howdy.
Senator Carey.
Howdy.
Senator Mully.
Howdy.
Senator Heisel.
Howdy.
Senator Hawks.
Howdy.
Senator Haman.
Howdy.
Senator Melendez. Senator Williamson.
Howdy.
Senator Wager. Howdy. Senator Blessing.
Howdy.
Senator Wood.
Howdy.
Senator Fuente.
Howdy.
Senator Shavino.
Howdy.
Senator Pennyman.
Howdy.
Senator Mountain.
Howdy.
Senator Black.
Howdy.
Senator Bayona. That's it?
And who will be giving the Senator Carpenter.
A little bit traditional invocation, would you please all bow your heads for a moment of silence? Thank you. Let's stand for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Texas A&M University School of Sale represents all students who work in the Texas A&M experience at Cornell University, communities through research, legislation, and advocacy in accordance with the core values of the school.
Thank you, Senator Carpenter. The chair is going to be aware of 3 items for the board. First up is Thomas McNutt from After Dark, who is the class of 2013.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Guys, I'm here on behalf of an organization by the name of After Dark. Does anybody watch or has watched at some point the show American Idol? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I have. Anyway. Okay. Well, anyways, in 2009, the winner was a guy by the name of Chris Allen. He's the one who does that whole song, like, live like you're dying. Anyway, okay, sorry. Okay, anyways, Chris Allen is coming to campus next week on Thursday night. After Dark is bringing here. Normally to see Chris Allen in concert, it costs $60 to $160 in Houston or Dallas, but he's coming here absolutely for free. After Dark is a Christian organization that brings around bands at different college campuses and puts on free concerts for people. And so it'll be October 25th, next Thursday night, from 8 to 10. So everybody can come. They come to campus every 4 years. Last time they were here, they had 6,000 Aggies show up. And at the end, they have a small topic of discussion of is Christianity still relevant in today's society in America? So it's pretty interesting, regardless of your beliefs or whatever else. So free American Idol, Chris Allen concert. Pretty interesting topic of discussion at the end. Next Thursday night from 8 to 10. I encourage everybody to be there. Free event. It's pretty good. So thanks and gig on.
Yeah.
Next up is Mark Womack from the Executive Council, class of 11.
So, howdy everybody.
Howdy.
I just want to make you aware that the on-campus food pantry that we've kind of been talking about over and over again is really making a lot of progress. If you have some questions about the specifics of that, I've got some really exciting news with that. But I just wanted to update you guys that the competition between the different major student organizations, core, MSC, class councils, etc., is actually going to be extended until Friday. So that means that you have until Friday to bring those cans. Thank you, Speaker Bowen, for sending out an email. You can see up there that we've really got a big haul, but I have some terrible news. The Graduate Student Council is actually gaining on us quite rapidly, and they will not let us hear the end of it if they win, because we are 4 times larger than they are, and so they're going to be talking unmerciful smack if we do not step it up. So please, please, please bring your food, really help out, break down the walls between student athletes and students, and we show them that they are a part of the Aggie family just as much as anybody else who can support them in this endeavor, because it really is a worthwhile cause. So again, please bring your cans before 3 o'clock. You can just drop them out there in the front of Coldest, and let's make sure that we beat the hell out of hunger, and then beat the hell out of LSU. So thanks again.
All right, next up is JJ Kim from Class Councils, class of 2014.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Keep this short. For all you guys may know, the Marinac game is this weekend against LSU. And so we're selling t-shirts. They're at the Breezeway between Rudder and the MSC. And we sell from 10 to 2, and they're $8 a shirt. So get your Marinac shirts. And we also sell on game days, which is going to be starting at 7 a.m. So you guys get your shirts, and let's beat the hell out of LSU.
And finally is Sarah Margaret Hammond, class of 2014. Perfect. Class of 2014.
Howdy, my name is Sarah Margaret Hammond. I'm an off-campus senator, but right now I'm going to tell you all about my sororities at Tau Alpha. We have our big plan to be coming up this Sunday called Big Man on Campus. It's kind of like a male pageant, and it's raising money for breast cancer research, education, and awareness. And fortunately, I get to sell 10 tickets, and they're $5 each. So if anyone's interested in going, I have these to sell to y'all. So I'll be back there if you ever need them. $5, and I've got some shirts if you want to buy those. And in the future, I don't know about guys, but there are 12 competitors. And each one of them gets a month in the calendar, so we're making them a calendar. So it'll be like Mr. November and October. So girls, if you want to do those calendars, you can buy one of those too. But I'll be back there. Thanks again.
And thank you. And that is all for Open Forum. And I would like to make it clear, I'm sorry I didn't say this earlier, but there is question and answer after every Open Forum presentation if anyone's interested. I'm sorry to mention that. So if anyone had any questions for the participants.
Point of information, Hudson Oil Student Business Center. Mr. Foster Daly is actually running in the Big Man on Campus event for Zeta, so if you'd like to go and support him, then that'd be great.
I'm just going to raise a real quick point of order. I understand you're new, Senator Boyle, but just as a teaching moment, like the correct way to have a point of information is you ask a question of the chair, and then they will either answer it themselves or redirect that to someone in the room that would know the answer to that question.
So Chris, do you want to demonstrate if you were going to do that same announcement that you did, how you would do that point of information?
So I would say, Mr. Speaker, point of information. I've heard that there's someone in this room who's running in the aforementioned event. Do you know who that is?
Would that be Senator Foster Daly?
No.
Yes, sir, it would be. And that concludes Open Forum. So we'll now move into our special presentation. Mr. Jim Porter, who is a region of the Texas A&M system.
Thank you, Speaker Brown, Senators. It's an honor to be here. This is my 3rd year to be here. I'm going to give you kind of a progress report of what's going on with Texas A&M in the system. And then when I get through, time allowed, I'll answer any question that you have. First of all, do we have any veterans here tonight? No? How about Corps cadets? Thank you for your service. And all you folks that are not in the Corps, I encourage you at least one time to go watch Step Off. You've got to understand how valuable the Corps cadets is to Texas A&M. If it wasn't for the Corps cadets, you wouldn't have all these traditions that you've learned at fish camp and over years at A&M. I'm not recruiting for the Corps cadets. I'm just telling you, as a family, you need to know your roots. You haven't seen what the Corps cadets do and how they march in football games and other events they have with lost volunteers. You need to learn, because when you get out of Texas A&M, you'll have all these great traditions, but you need to know what they do. So thank you guys. I appreciate it a lot. A lot of exciting things have happened this year already at Texas A&M. As you know, we went to the SEC. got a new football coach, Kevin Sumlin, a new AD, and we're halfway through the season and we're looking pretty good. As far as A&M business, this year we privatized food service. We privatized the janitorial and maintenance service. We got a $46 million signing bonus to award the contract to Compass, and we're going to save $200 million over 10 years. That brings us to I, last year, was the only region that voted against an increase in tuition and fees. This year, I voted against tuition and fees again. I was able to persuade 2 of my regions to follow me. We still don't have a majority, but I'm working on that. And I know how much it costs to go to Texas A&M. We need to cut all the costs we can, cut all the fat we can. We have great professors, great researchers, but at the same time, our students are struggling. And I don't care what you call tuition, you call it fees, tuition, it's a tax. And I'm against increases in taxes. So I'm your advocate. Contrary to what the adults think, I'm here for you guys, not for the adults. We have some people in the press, especially the Eagle, that says regions are overpaid. Well, that could be true. We don't get paid anything. We're volunteers, but we couldn't be getting overpaid. But I'm your advocate, and that's why I'm here. This is my 3rd year in a row, because I want to talk to the student leadership. I want to hear what your concerns are, so I can go back to my fellow regents and say, okay, I have talked to the students. This is what they've told me. Now, the system has 11 universities, so I talked to a lot of different students in different universities. We have 11 in the system in the state of Texas. A&M is the biggest, the flagship. But we also have universities all over. We have 130,000 students now. The budget at Texas A&M systems is $3.5 million. I believe A&M is about $1.4 billion. There's $3.5 billion in the system, about $1.4 million here. I could be off 50 million, one way or the other for A&M. We also have the biomedical corridor coming in. This is going to be a big deal for College Station. It's going to be a big deal for researchers. This has helped making us world renowned for what we're doing as far as research and developing vaccines for a pandemic outbreak. We also have completed Ross Street, thanks to my wife and some other folks. If you'll notice, Ross Street has been renovated. My wife got me out of bed one morning about 4:30 2 years ago and said, you get out of here and you go look at that, it's terrible. So we're trying to renovate the campus to make it look prettier. I think you've already noticed some of the things we've done with the landscaping, but it's going to get a lot better. Now, as far as the future of Texas A&M, I would like to see it grow more. We have 30,000 students that apply every year. We let in 9,000 to 10,000. For every student that comes to Texas A&M, we get approximately $10,000 a student. So you do the math. For every 10,000 students that come in, we get $100 million. I'm trying to figure out a way to do more with less. And if you had a business and you had this many clients, you would bring them in. Trying to get the administrators to understand that we need to utilize our buildings more, and we're getting there. They're understanding what we're talking about. My fellow regents are working together to try to make it more affordable. The problem is, when you come out of any university in Texas, you'll have a $70,000 or $80,000 tab if you've had some loans. Now, I realize some of you guys don't have that high loans when you leave, but still, that's not fair. We've got to make higher education more affordable for more students. And so that's my goal. If you'll notice, the governor's talking about that a lot also. And we are real serious about that, trying to help you. Now, I want to talk to you about when you get out. How's my time, Mr. Speaker?
Oh, you have about 4 minutes.
Thank you, sir. You know, when you get out of college, there's one thing I want to tell you. And I want you to share this with your other students. And I know I'm on the internet right now, so maybe some other folks are listening. Just because people tell you that you can't get a job that you want, that's not true. Let me give you some advice. If you find a job that you want, you'll tell the employer that you want to work for. Say, hey, look, if you're not hiring right now, give me a shot and I'll work for you for free for 90 days. You have no job anyway, so what there is to make. Let me tell you a story. About 20 years ago, I'm in the banking business also. A young man came to me and said, I'd like to work for your bank, and we weren't hiring. He said, you don't understand, I want to work for your bank. And I said, well, sir, you don't understand, we're not hiring. He said, how about if I work for you for free for 6 months and just let you see what I can do? Well, how can you turn that down? We started out in a teller. The young man was there earlier than anybody, stayed later. In 6 months, I knew I wanted him. He was better than a lot of people I had. He had a car in his belt. He ended up being a senior VP at my bank. So I'm telling you, don't let people tell you that you can't find a job that you want. If you have a passion, and it might not be your major, do it. Don't let the adults get in your way. Make it happen. You can set your own destiny. All these hard luck stories you hear, when you got 8% unemployment, and I know some of your parents are hurting, it's not good. But guess what? 93% of the people working. You can find a job somewhere, and you can probably find a job in your field, but you have to do what I just said. And you ought to fight for every day, so I know you can. Okay. Open up for questions. Wide open. Anything you want to talk about?
All right, and there are already several people in line for questions. For the new senators, in order to ask a question, just raise your placard, and until I look your way, I'll just kind of nod that I've acknowledged you at the end of the list. So the first step is Chair Ganu.
Chair Ganu, Services. I have a specific question regarding the engineering differential tuition. Last year, it was $800 a year, and looking at the numbers, about 20% of that is being given out as grants/financial aid. So my question is, why do I have to take out loans in order to give someone else a loan or a grant?
That's a good question. I'm against it. I voted against it 2 years in a row. I feel just like you do. I don't want any increase. We're trying to save money at this institution. We already have. I just told you about a $46 million signing bonus we got. We just bought a law school for $25 million. I agree with you. We're trying to make higher ed more affordable. So I'm not for increasing fees or differential fees or higher tuition, and I'm on record for that 2 years in a row.
Thank you.
But I agree with you.
Okay, next up is Senator McNutt.
Yes, sir.
Howdy, Thomas McNutt, from Liberal Arts. Mr. Shorty, thank you so much for coming.
I've been here, sir.
Very appreciative. I'm paying my way through school, and I'm very appreciative of the things that you're saying, and I'll be looking for a job soon as well. So I'm very appreciative. My brother is going to be in the first class Texas A&M Law School, so he's over at Wesleyan. He's very, very excited about that. But in regard to outsourcing, I know that I was student services chair before, and the look of campus is one of the big reasons I got into student government. Just pretty preface. And you know, I feel coming on campus this year, campus has never ever looked better. Construction's finishing up. The lawn care is better. The golf course being remodeled. Things look the best I've ever seen. And I know that's as a result of outsourcing and bringing in profit motive to the people in charge. Can you speak to other benefits that we might not see that have come from your leadership and all the positive outsourcing on campus?
Well, thank you, Senator McNutt. I appreciate the compliments. We've been working hard on that. As you know, I'm chairman of the building and maintenance for the whole system, and it's a big undertaking. But it has not looked very good here. My daughter's class of 08, I didn't like what I saw. So we are trying to improve it. You're going to see a lot of improvement in food service, I believe, in the next 6 months. Hopefully maintenance also, janitorial service, we outsource all that. You know, when you have private enterprises come in and do outsourcing, they have an incentive to make it look pretty, or they don't get to stay.
Mm-hmm.
So because of capitalism and economic incentive, you're going to see a lot of improvements. Food is great.
Yes.
Because it hadn't been that great, and we're getting better.
Yes. Thank you. Brief follow-up.
At the end of the line.
Okay. Thank you.
Next up is Senator Woolsey.
Right, Senator Woolsey, Northside. I have a question regarding the university advancement fee. I know that when the administration presented it to the Board of Regents, they labeled this the student success fee. And so I'm wondering if there is any difference between the university advancement fee that we have now as opposed to the student success fee, which the administration proposed to you.
That's a good question, Senator Blue. I wish I could answer that. I voted against that also. because I believe that if you change the name and you combine everything, no one knows what they're paying for. I like to know what I'm paying for. You like to know what you're paying for. So I can't answer the question because I don't know much more than you do, because we've tried to dig this out. And again, I voted against 2 years in a row. So all I can tell you is I'm your advocate. I'm chipping away. My fellow regents are listening. I believe they understand how important it is to cut costs and to make it more affordable to go to Texas A&M and all the schools in the system. So I think you're going to slowly see the ship turning, because the word is getting out from the governor on down that we need to make higher education more affordable. I don't know if you noticed, but even President Obama in his State of the Union address talked about the cost of higher ed and student loans. The world is understanding that enough is enough. And I think the administrators and the professors and deans are now getting the message. So hopefully we're turning the tide on that. But again, I voted twice against it, so I feel your pain.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next up is Chair Sosa.
With John.
Senator Russo.
Senator Russo off campus. Again, thank you for coming and speaking to us tonight, Regents.
Thank you, sir.
A couple of sessions ago, I was Student Services Chair. At that time, it was presented that we had about $770 million worth of deferred maintenance on campus. With regards to expanding the student body, how do you balance starting to maintain the facilities we have while at the same time having all this construction and expansion, especially on West Campus?
I believe you've been talking to my wife, Senator. She tells me that every night before I go to bed. I see you all are building new buildings, but why come we're not maintaining the beautiful buildings that we have? We're starting to address that. If you notice, we've gotten through the YMCA building. We're fixing to have a ceremony. Ross Street, we're slowly getting there. But you understand, this place has been neglected for 50 years, so it's going to take time. But we are addressing that. We think it's very important to preserve your history and your heritage. And so you're going to see some changes slowly. And if you have been on Ross Street, that's one of the major changes we made this last 2 years. Ross Street looked terrible. Had cattle guards and gates across it and stuff. And we beautified that area. We're coming this way. So we're doing both. This campus is growing. We're building new facilities, but we can't forget our deferred maintenance. It's a serious problem.
Thank you.
We're hoping the legislature will help us a little bit too.
And then next up is Chair Cheshire.
Howdy, Richard Porter. Thank you for coming, Senator Cheshire, legislature. My question's sort of in the building thing. Last semester there were announced plans about a Kyle Field renovation, and the Populous was supposed to have sort of blueprints and stuff out for us to see. I know you've seen more than us in October. Do you know sort of what the timeline is on that, and when we'll sort of be able to figure out how that's going?
I do know that the plan that the committee that President Lofton chose in part of the 12th Man Foundation, I'm not on that committee, but I do know that they're going to present their recommendation to the Board of Regents in November, is my understanding. And so I'll know a lot more about it then. But I think you'll see this next Board of Regents meeting and we'll make that decision. I've heard bits and pieces, but I'm not on that committee, and so I don't want to address it until I know enough to answer that question and tell them.
All right, thank you.
And with a little bit of time remaining, Senator McNutt.
Yes, just a brief follow-up in regard to outsourcing. Let me ask: is it true there were a lot of concerns pre-outsourcing? People are going to lose their jobs and get cut in pays. Is it the rumor was that no one lost their job due to the 4% increase in pay across the board? Was that accurate? That's correct. Okay, thank you.
In fact, they got a little bit of an increase because, and I don't hold me to it, I don't know the exact number, but they got a little bit of an increase because of the insurance was a little bit higher to compensate for the health insurance.
Are there any further questions for Regent? Seeing none, thank you for coming.
Well, it's an honor to be here. Speaker Brown, I appreciate the time. Again, this is my third time to be here. I am here for you guys. If you have concerns, the regents do listen. You may not know that, but they do listen to you guys. And we want to know what you think. You are our customer. And we want to treat you like a customer. Part of the family.
Special presentation. Before we get started, next item on our agenda, one thing I forgot to mention is introducing our advisor, Sarah Edwards. So if you have any questions at all, just from a student activities perspective about Student Senate, if you just need someone to talk to, her door is always open. And we also have evaluations that she wanted to hand out and have us complete as an objective for something the university needs.
Thank you. Congratulations. Yes. Okay. So if any of y'all are familiar with the Qualitative Enhancement Project, QUP, maybe you've heard it called Aggies Commit. Basically, as part of our accreditation, we're involved in a 10-year plan to prove that you're learning something. And this time specifically that you're learning something not just in the classroom, but also outside of the classroom. So what we've devised for this year, and one thing that Senate is one of the, I think, 79 groups across campus that are participating this semester, is once a month. It's just a brief questionnaire for you to fill out. It's a little bit of demographic information, and then at the bottom, it'll ask you one question. And so literally it should take you maybe 5 minutes. This month's question is, beyond building friendships and networking, what do you personally hope to learn through this student involvement experience? So I'm going to pass these around. Please take some time during the meeting tonight to fill it out. Bring it back up to me before the meeting's over. One thing I cannot stress enough, so please, if you don't hear anything else, black or blue pen, circle in the bubble. Even where it says check, if you will fill in the bubble, black or blue pen, you're going to save me all the time of having to trace back over your writing, so not pencil. So yeah, I'm going to throw them around real quick. Okay, so if you guys don't mind doing that, you can continue on with the meeting. Just do it at some point, and then bring it up to me when you're done, and thank you so much. If you ever do have any questions or there's anything I can help you with, certainly don't hesitate to ask.
Thank you. And we will now move to the next item on our agenda, which is the confirmation of a Chief Justice. So if Charles Arden would please come forward.
Howdy. Howdy. Well, thanks for having us again tonight. Charles Arden, ladies and gentlemen, affectionately known as Chuck, is a brilliant student. I've been beyond impressed with his constitutional knowledge, his ability to think on his toes, and his ability to lead and set a vision for the judicial court. I think you guys will be very, very impressed with his presentation tonight, and I look forward to having a Chief Justice out after this meeting. So, Chuck, without further ado, please take it over, my friend.
Well, howdy.
Howdy.
Such a rave review. I'm not sure if I can meet those expectations. This is the Senate confirmation for myself as Chief Justice. These are a few of my credentials why I think that I would be a good fit for the position of Chief Justice. I've served on the court the last 2 years, so this will be my 3rd year here. Kind of old and been around the block a few times. I am very young and so is Sam. I'm the Vice President of Texas A&M Legals. We're a moot court organization here on campus. I serve on the University Disciplinary Appeals Panel and the Academic Appeals Panel. And I think it's kind of relevant. I've done original research on judicial politics and working on theses and stuff right now. So what are my goals for the court this year? The first goal is we need to emphasize minority opinions. I know last year I went down in history and I think the first person ever to write a dissenting opinion. But I think there's value in that. I think there's value in making sure that all 9 people on this court have a say. Because I know I always hated it when I was there and didn't get my say. And that's an important thing. We selected 9 individuals, and you guys confirmed 9 individuals because you wanted 9 individuals. And so we've already taken steps to address that. I wrote and we were passing bylaw revisions emphasizing dissenting and concurrent opinions, and I hope people start to use those this year. I also want to see more involvement in the A&M community. We have ties with the UConns, and that's how I actually got on the appeals panels. But I want to see more of it. I want to see us get more involved with the UConns and with SGA in general. I also want us to go outside of the SGA and get more leadership roles there. J-Court's great training for that, and I think we can use that skill well. So what are the changes I intend to do? Again, I've already discussed. I want minority opinions. I want dissenting opinions if people disagree. I want concurring opinions if they think we didn't go far enough or we went too far. That's what I want. I want a roundtable discussion. In the past, we usually just voted. Are you for? Are you against? We counted the votes and we wrote an opinion. That's not how this works. I want to make sure that every individual has the time they need to give their say. And finally, like I said, I want more involvement in SGA activities. There's been a lot of hostility between the court and the Senate, and the SPP and the Senate, and everybody was fighting with everybody during the appointments last year. It's kind of carried over. We need to rebuild those bridges. SGA doesn't work if we won't work together. And so I want to see the court get more involved with the SGA, get more involved with the Senate, get more involved with the SPP, and I hope to start doing that this year. So does anyone have any questions?
First up is Senator Woolsey.
Howdy, Senator Woolsey, Northside. The question was posed in the previous Chief Justice nomination, so I'd like to ask you as well. Can you give us one example, or two examples, of one court case decision that you agree with and one that you don't? It can be an A&M judicial court, can be a Supreme Court case, whatever.
Well, one that I agree with, probably the biggest one most is Marbury versus Mass. I thought that was a great example of what I talked about, trying to bring the different branches together. The way that they crafted that opinion, if you look into the history, it's fascinating. They had to please the president, the Senate, the court. They had to please all of these actors, and they found a way to do it. In regards to opinions I disagree with, obviously the opinion that I wrote a dissent with last year, I wasn't sure if the opinion was decided right, and I obviously had concerns with that, and it's carried in that case.
Thank you.
Senator Williamson.
Senator Williamson, off campus. With us not appointing Chelsea Liu as the Chief Justice, are there any of her ideas that you thought were really good?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think my understanding is that a lot of our ideas are set. We both want to emphasize 9 justices, 9 votes. We want to emphasize these minority opinions. And so I think her ideas and the other candidates for the Chief Justice position all have great ideas. And I hope that we can bring all of them together and make sure that this court works better than it has in the past.
Are there any further questions? Seeing none, we will now move to a period of debate on Justice Harlan's nomination. So, do I see any debate against? And again, for the most to do debate, we start with debate against, and then we move to debate for and alternate until either there's no debate left or someone calls previous question, which ends debate. So, in order to debate against, you raise a fist. In order to debate for, you raise a hand. So, is there any debate against? Seeing none, the chair deems debate one-sided, and we will now move to the period of voting. Does anyone request a ballot vote?
So moved.
That has been moved. We will now vote by ballot.
Come on,
yeah. And this is a secret ballot.
Oh, it's counting.
Yeah.
There's not letting this up.
Okay, howdy!
Howdy!
2 for 6 for y'all. With the ballots, not all of them are the correct ballot for this race. So the things I need to make sure you do are write Chief Justice, your name, and whether you say yes or no. Okay, so those 3 P's are really important for us to be able to count. Second, if you're a new senator and you haven't got your clicker yet, please know that every senator has the clicker up here. So Macy worked really hard to set those up, and everyone does have the ability to vote with the clicker. So don't forget to come get that.
All right.
They should walk around.
What else? I only have 5 choices. Like really?
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that last time.
Yeah. Well, you know, I can also choose all 5. Why don't you put
Has anyone not turned in their ballot yet? Okay, officers, go get those. If no one's grabbed their ballot, raise their hand.
Chief Justice, I actually, your name, yes.
This would be an excellent time to finish the survey I passed out.
I wondered what they do. The clickers are real concepts, so we just started using them. They didn't use them last year. Well, I don't think it's. I never for I wasn't part of 64. But during like April and May.
By a vote of 63 in favor and 0 against, Charles Arvin is confirmed for Chief Justice.
Okay, I don't know the oath of office. I don't have it memorized, so allow me to read from this nice name plaque here. Okay, so I state your name.
I, Charles Arvin,
Do solemnly swear to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
do solemnly swear to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
the office of state office
the office of Chief Justice
for the Texas A&M University
for the Texas A&M University
Student Government Association,
Student Government Association,
and at all times
and at all times
to protect the welfare of the student body,
to protect the welfare of the student body,
and to promote good relations
and to promote good relations
between the students and those concerned with the university.
between the students and those concerned with the university.
All right, we will now move into confirmation of university committees. So that is Vice President of University Committee Amanda Hathaway will be presenting.
Okay, howdy.
Howdy.
Like I said, my name's Amanda Hathaway. I'm sure y'all would recognize my face by now. I'm here with my last group of University Committee confirmations. We officially have every spot filled, which is exciting. I don't know if that's ever happened before. So not everyone could attend because it's kind of short-sighted on my part to let everyone know about this meeting that's happening. But if we can just go down the line and introduce ourselves, that'd be great.
Shelby Sturgis, Abby Brigman, class of 2016.
Julian Whitney, class of 2013.
Rose Smith, class of 12.
Holly Scott, class of 15.
I'm Mark.
So if y'all have any questions about the specific committees or what they're getting for, you can ask me. Scott sent out a list with their names and the positions they're appointed to. And like I said, it's just the last couple of spots that needed to get filled in. So with that, I will solve the questions.
All right, are there any questions for these nominees? Seeing none, I will ask a question really quickly because I thought I heard this. Is there really one member of every class from 11 to 16 up here? Like 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16? We just noticed that. 11, 12,
I'm the 14.
13.
15.
You must have practiced that. Anyway, that concludes question and answers, so we will now move into a period of voting. I will make a couple of rules and regulations and notes on this in case they become relevant. For confirmations of university committee members, people can be confirmed if they are not in attendance. However, you may make a motion to table the confirmation of someone who is not here, and that requires only a 1/6 second. It's postponed to the next meeting, just in case that's something anyone's interested in. But other than that, we will now get into debate. So, y'all good. Is there any debate against these nominees? Seeing none, the chair deems debate one-sided. We will now move into a period of voting. Is there a request for a secret ballot?
Mr. Speaker.
Are we voting on whatever?
Yes, all of them at once. So we will now move into a period of voting once again. Guys, this could potentially be the last confirmation ever this session. So you senators don't know, but we have had some kind of confirmation hearing every single meeting since the very first meeting. So this is a huge milestone.
Yeah, so once again, university committee, your name, yes or no, or fill in like for or against, however you want to put it. But your name, university committee, and your vote.
And you can write down university committee members, you can write down your body, just whatever you want.
Or UC.
Thank you.
Are there any ballots that have not been collected? Yes.
Hey, Thomas. Thomas. Yes. That's my setting vote.
Okay, by a vote of 60 in favor to 0 against, all of the nominees are confirmed.
Alright, so we can all raise our right hands, repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear to faithfully execute.
Do solemnly swear to faithfully execute.
To the best of my ability.
To the best of my abilities.
The office of, state your office.
The office of student representative of the Deputy Force Right Committee.
For the Texas A&M University Student Government Association. to the Texas A&M University Student Government Association, and at all times to protect the welfare
and at all times to protect the welfare
of the student body,
of the student body,
and to promote good relations
and to promote good relations
between the students and those concerned with the university.
between the students and those concerned with the university.
Congratulations.
It's gone. She's going all. Yeah, it's couldn't figure out how to get it less fast.
Okay, moving right along, we'll now move to old business. This is where we actually listen to presentations on debate and vote on bills. So the first one up is the eligibility for elections bill written by Senator Brown. Woo!
Speaker Brown.
10 minutes.
Hey! My name's Trevor Brown. I'm on campus. Got kind of cold, and I don't want to take too long because it's kind of a simple matter. You know, I'm pretty intimidating too, so I'm kind of nervous. Smile, that help. Regardless, pretty much what I try to do with this bill is close what I think is a loophole in our current election regulations, and pretty much that loophole is if somebody who is a senior and about to graduate from Texas A&M, they can still run for student senate just by signing a little Aggie Honor Code thing saying that they intend on going to A&M for grad school or whatever and so forth. What I'm proposing that we do is we close that loophole by making sure that in order to be able to run for student senate that you are guaranteed attendance, that you are attending Texas A&M by the filing deadline, so to speak. So what this will do is pretty much like it'll prevent anybody from basically running for student senate, coming in and just having a say in the elections and then just leaving us here with a vacancy. Hopefully it will just limit vacancies in general. And the way I see it is, you know, realistically, do you think someone who hasn't spent like their entire time in student government, someone who hasn't participated in student senate at all, is about to graduate Texas A&M, is thinking about grad school, but then says, oh, you know what, I want to run for student senate. That doesn't happen. Obviously, the people who run for student senate who are going to grad school have been in student senate. They have a more recognizable name, they've served, they've done a bunch of different things, yada yada. And what that does is that blocks off new blood, you know. That gets like your little eager freshman, your little eager sophomore that wants to come in, wants to serve, but doesn't get the opportunity to because he's losing out to someone who's not even guaranteed admission to the university the following semester. So what I want to do is I want to level the playing field for the little guy. I want to make sure that these things are fair. Later on, you know, so we aren't cutting out our grad school population because we do represent them as well. I propose, you know, maybe later on adding like a grad seat or something, but that's something we can do later. This is a hole we need to fix now. And yeah, I hope you all agree. I'll take questions now.
All right, the first question goes to Senator McNutt.
Yeah, Patty Dirk, I like the question for buying the bill. My only question, and this is figured out, I think that'd be good. What about people who apply and are still waiting to hear back, file deadlines for elections, etc.?
Yeah, see, that's a big concern. Is obviously, you know, most deadlines are so after the elections, and I think that's just kind of one of those things where we just have to, you know, the pros outweigh the cons. You know, they can always run on the fall for vacancy. If they don't know, then I'm sorry.
Point of information, Scott. Or, do you know if that would have affected? Do you know if anyone last go around and last spring were waiting to hear back from grad schools?
During this session, I knew of, I think, 2 individuals who were waiting to hear back from grad school.
Okay.
Hey, thank you. Next question goes to Speaker Fernandez.
Speaker Fernandez, Mercer Caucus. Okay, so the purpose behind this bill is to prevent students from running, getting into Senate, influencing certain things, and then leaving, correct? Because they don't really want.
That's a primary function. Another function is to get new blood.
Okay, do you know how many people who have done that in the past? versus the number of people who are grad students and have been serving and are still serving in the student senate. Do you know those numbers? Do you know if we're really like, yeah, just give me the numbers.
The numbers? Well, what about I give you the numbers of student senators who've been, not been able to serve because they lost out to seats to grad students, or people who are applying for grad school.
Well, point of information. Well,
Because it's
point of information. Yes. So, how if you're trying if this is trying to fix this certain problem, what about the people who run and don't get into Senate? There are still students trying to get into Senate. They don't get the opportunity because they don't win. So
what is the question?
how are you going to solve this? The people who run and they just can't get in because they obviously don't win. Someone has to win. So how do we solve this other problem?
I don't think that's really the point of information would be for a factual question, and that's more of a solution type of opinion thing that I can't really answer. So if that's a question for him, then I've got one other question, and then I'll give you a follow-up.
Sort of moves I think kind of hitting on the same thing. Do you know how often it's actually a problem? Like not so much. Oh well, it kind of happens every year. Like there's 4 or 5 every year. There's more.
I will admit, I'll concede that it is somewhat rare, but I'll go back to my secondary point that there are a lot of guys who have the opportunity to want to serve but still lose out because they lose to someone who experiences more of a principle as opposed to frequent difference.
Senator Smith.
Hi, Senator Smith. My question is, why did you build this knowing we had a lot of the runoff for vacancy elections coming in the fall for vacancies? Do you think so it was necessary, even though we have had the people in the past to say our graduates are not able to serve in the next semester? Do you think it is necessary to know that so we have vacancy elections
The thing that makes it so that they don't get the opportunity to run this kind of business. Does that answer? I'm not really sure.
Okay, what I'm going to say for that is that the way, just as a general clarification for question and answer, I don't like a lot of interchange between the questioner and the person answering just because it takes up time and there could be other people in line. The way the clock actually works is 5 minutes goes to the person answering the question. So all of the time spent asking the question does not count toward the 5 minutes. Now, if you using your 5 minutes, wish to yield to the questioner to get additional information from them or clarification on their question, then that is fine. However, starting a follow-up question or a completely new question, they would need to go back to the back of the line and wait for a So, yeah, so if you need a little bit of clarification so you can get your answer out, that's fine. But if it's a new question or kind of a new direction, then so yeah, so
yeah.
Why do you think this is necessary, even though we have vacancies elections? Why don't you think?
Because I think that someone should be, for sure, attending the university when they run for this kind of position. And even if they have intentions of running, or have intentions of attending this university, but maybe haven't received their acceptance letter, they still have the opportunity to serve probably because the vacancies are pretty high.
Okay, next up is Senator Nunn.
Point of interest or information?
Okay, so if you have a question for the author, then you just ask it.
Oh.
If you have a question for me, or just a question about general facts that the bill author may or may not be able to answer, it's just a completely factual thing that you'd like information on, then you raise the information.
Okay, I just have a question.
Okay.
So, what are these positions that both both seniors and graduates are running for?
Okay. Well, before I go into that, I'm actually kind of glad you did the point of information because when I asked my first question in the Senate, I did the exact same thing. So it's kind of refreshing to see.
Oh, well, good.
But they're running for Senate. They're running for Senate seats. I mean, both people who are applying to grad school, people in grad school, and people undergrad run for Senate seats.
But don't Senate seats have like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior?
It's just something.
No. Or is that a point of interest?
That could be.
Oh, point of information.
There are only 2 freshman seats. There are no other seats by class, so there aren't like sophomore seats, junior
Okay.
seats, graduate seats. It's only the 2 freshman senators. And the reason for that is because freshmen don't get to participate in the spring elections that elected most of us.
Okay.
So that's a way for freshmen to still be able to participate in representative government.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
All right, next question goes to Chair Cheshire.
He already answered it. No.
Okay. Speaker for this.
No, I just have to, well, okay, well, no, I'll just say it for the debate, never mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any further questions? Senator Bryson.
Senator Bryson, College of Science. Do you see this, Trevor, as possibly lowering the number of vacancies that you have in the fall if this bill would close this loophole?
Absolutely.
I mean,
it may not be a substantial amount because most people just quit because they have to go like Senate or they miss too many meetings or they find new hobbies, but this will definitely hopefully limit even a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, are there any further questions? Seeing none, we will now move to a period of debate. All right, I see several people ready to debate, so I will start. Okay, so I will start with Senator Russo, and then we'll go Nandri Ganoon Fernandez.
All right, howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
Okay, this rule is trying to close a loophole to solve a problem that, if the rule as it stands is enforced, does not exist. That was the primary motivation. Now, the secondary one is a little bit more insidious, but I'll get to that later. Okay, the first motivation behind this bill is to make sure that previously we had a problem where long-serving senators would come in completely in the new session, completely with no intention of serving the next year because they were going to graduate and either take a job or take a graduate offer somewhere else, go to law school, professional school, whatever. And they would come in, vote in officer elections, and then quit. So you'd have an empty seat for that long. And that's happened like 3 times since I've been here, since the 62nd session, which for anybody that doesn't know is spring of 2009. That's happened to 3 different seats. And to the best of my knowledge, it hasn't really influenced any officer elections, not speaker elections for sure, which is the main motivation behind that action. So what we have now is a corrective action for that, where if you've accepted any other offers, you have to sign an honor code statement where you can be taken to the honor council and basically said that you lied, cheated, or stole by defrauding the Senate and breaking the bylaws by saying that you were going to serve in good faith in that position when actually you had accepted a different offer. So let's move on now to the second part of this bill, which is the motivation
Point of information. Has there anybody who hasn't?
Please stand and say your point.
Has there been anybody who hasn't said honor thing and served?
Okay, that bylaw did not take effect in time for the last elections, so it was not enforced. There were 2 senators who fell under that, who served in this session. Those were Senator Russo and Senator Esparza, who is now at American University Law School and was elected to this session. However, neither of them were required to sign the statement because that was not passed into the bylaws until they had been elected. So that would be an ex post facto law, which is illegal. So,
Mr. Speaker, how much time do I have?
You have 1 minute remaining.
Okay. The second motivation that was stated behind this is to get new blood into Senate by presumably precluding anybody who is going to grad school but hasn't heard back by early March, basically when no one has heard from grad school back at Texas A&M if they can run or not. So what you're essentially saying, what you're asked to make a choice for, because we already addressed why the first one is already enforced in the current law. Basically what you're making a choice is you're saying, can a person who has decided to continue their education, is still represented by the Student Senate, by the way, as a grad student, run with every intention of serving in the next session, who has the grades, is waiting on a decision,
Are we going to deny those people the opportunity to serve, regardless of how many sessions they've served in before? Now, you can talk about all these externalities of, oh, well, they're usually people who have served in a long time, but honestly, this is just denying people an opportunity to serve, even when they want to, completely in good faith. Thank you.
All right, is there any debate in favor? Speaking for Senator Brown.
Denying people a chance to serve, or denying a certain individual who came up to debate the chance to serve? Because, you know, that's the way I see it. The way I see it is, you know, your spot was someone who didn't get the chance to serve, and with Senator Esparza's spot, likewise, was somebody who didn't get the chance to serve. So that kind of argument goes both ways. Also, going back to the first point, which is a matter of, you know, whether this is morally right or not. Are we cutting out a bunch of people? Like I said, there are other follow-up measures we can take to prevent that can make this more of an easy transition, like a grad seat, so to speak. So there's no reason to completely take out this bill, cut this bill up, send it whatever to the shredder, when there are other opportunities we can do to close this loophole and serve our have our grad students proudly serve next to us. And with that, is anybody else that is not on this up here? No? I will yield to you.
All right, speaking against Chair Andrew.
All right. If we start deciding who can and can't run, at what point do we destroy the idea of a representative government? I see really no incentive for us to pass this bill. If you have a solution in which we can fix the problems with this bill later on, then fix the problems with the bill and present it at that time. Don't say that we can fix it later on. That's really what this. Listen, I have no problem with the idea behind the bill, the motivation behind the bill, but I do have a problem that it's not consistent. We can't start denying a certain group of people, that group of people being undergrads transitioning to grad school, from running for Senate. That makes no sense, and it's not a representative government. With that, I'll yield to Senator McKinnon.
Yeah, just real quick, I was talking to Chris, my thought was, the only thing to, so we don't do this, and the only thing to, I don't know, demotivate, discourage, whatever, discourage people who are deviously planning on just influencing officer elections and getting out of here. If the only thing that we have to discourage them from doing that is an honor code violation, but in their minds they're like, man, I'm out of here, who cares about an honor code violation? Well, what I just talked to Chris about was they would get a black mark on their transcript. Is that accurate? Yeah, and so it would be on their record permanently if they pulled a stunt like that purposefully. And I think that's enough demotivation as it is. I do like the idea behind the bill, but again, we can't, I don't know, pick and choose. So there is plenty of incentive not to run deviously like that. You know, with the honor code rule, because it will stay with them past the time we're here. So I'm against it. Chris, yield to Chris.
Just 45 seconds. 45 seconds. Okay, just to kind of elaborate on what I was touching on earlier. You know, to Senator Manfred's point, the Chair Manfred, sorry, if you're going to present a bill to close a loophole, then why would you suggest these suggestions, these, you know, far-off vague suggestions for the future that open up even more loopholes? You know, we haven't even come to the table and discussed a graduate seat for the Senate. That's a totally different discussion. Now, if you're going to solve this problem with the exclusion of a bunch of people by having like a graduate student seat that people are able to run for in the spring, then why not have that as part of this bill and us discuss it? Now, I hesitate to have multiple actions in a bill like that, but at the same time, this bill is opening a loophole at the same time as it's attempting to close one that really doesn't exist. Thanks.
Figure out your previous question. Please stand and say your point.
I'm wondering how many graduate students are here right now.
How many graduate students are in Student Center right now?
Yeah.
There's Senator Russo. Are there any other graduate students in here? Senator Zelaya. I will point out that former Senator, now Executive Vice President Womack was also a graduate student.
And I'm wondering how many ran. You know that number?
How many
ran and were elected?
How many ran and were elected? All of them have been elected.
Plus, Esparza, and are there any more?
Any more? Ran
and left.
Ran and left. Esparza is the only one I can think of from this session. I remember at the beginning of the 60-second session, there were 2 more who did that.
Alright.
So, and those are the only instances of that I can think of.
And Mr. Speaker, point of information.
Yes,
If we could clarify, again, this policy that as it currently stands was not in place for either of those 2 elections, correct?
Correct.
Thanks.
Okay, so previous question has been called, it has received multiple seconds. So let me explain what this is real fast. A motion for previous question ends debate and moves us into a vote. So this is a vote on whether we want to stop talking and take a vote on the bill. And it requires 2/3 to pass, and I will do this through a voice vote. So all in favor of ending the debate and moving into a vote on this bill, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say nay. Nay. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have that, and we will now move into a vote on this bill. So for voting, the default method for voting is a clicker vote. So, however, before we get started voting, there are a couple of other methods that can be requested. A voice vote can be requested. So you say, I move for a voice vote. It requires, I believe, a 2/3 majority to move into a voice vote. Is that correct? So that requires a 2/3 majority. We can also call for a roll call vote. And what a roll call vote is Speaker Fernandez will call every individual and you will call out your vote as your name is called. So it would go like chair whoever for, chair whoever against, senator whoever for, on and on and on through the entire roll sheet. It's very dramatic and kind of fun to watch, but it also takes a lot of time. Then you can move for a ballot vote. However, there are no secret ballot votes on bills. So no matter what kind of vote you take, it will be recorded in some form or fashion. But the default is clicker votes, and that's what we're going to move into at this time. So unless anyone has a motion for something else, just turn your clicker on. Press A if you want to vote for, B if you want to vote against. We haven't started yet. I'll let you know when you start the vote. C for abstain. Don't press D or E or else. And if you don't have your clicker, they're up here. All right, start voting.
It is more fun. I know. Yeah, I have had before.
All right. Is there anyone who does not vote yet?